History remembers the midnight ride of Paul Revere, but have you heard of the teenage girl who rode twice as far, through a raging storm, to save her community from the British? Her name was Sybil Ludington, and her story is one of incredible courage that deserves to be told. Our story begins on a dark and stormy night, April 26, 1777. The American colonies are deep in their fight for independence. In the small settlement of Fredericksburg, New York, 16-year-old Sybil Ludington is at home with her family. She's the eldest of 12 children. Her father, Colonel Henry Ludington, is a respected figure in the community. He's the commander of the 7th Regiment of the Dutchess County Militia, a force of about 400 local men, farmers and merchants, who have pledged to defend their homes against the British. Life during the war is tense. The Hudson Highlands, where the Ludingtons live, is a strategic no-man's land between the British-held New York City and the American-controlled North. Raids are common, and everyone lives with a constant, low-level fear. On this particular night, the rain is relentless, turning the dirt roads into muddy rivers. The wind howls, and the darkness outside is absolute. It's the kind of night you'd want to be safe inside, by the fire. Suddenly, a loud knock shatters the relative peace of the Ludington home. A rider, exhausted and soaked to the bone, stumbles in. He brings terrible news. The British have landed. A force of nearly 2,000 redcoats, led by Major General William Tryon, had sailed up the coast, landed in Connecticut, and marched inland. Their target was Danbury, a crucial supply depot for the Continental Army. The messenger confirms their worst fears. Danbury is burning. The British are destroying warehouses full of food, tents, and medical supplies, everything the American soldiers need to keep fighting. The news hits Colonel Ludington like a physical blow. His militia is scattered across a wide area, spread out over miles of countryside. They need to be mustered, and they need to be mustered now. Their mission would be to intercept the British as they retreated back to their ships, to harass them and make them pay for the destruction of Danbury. But there was a huge problem. The messenger who brought the news was completely spent. His horse was lame, and he was too exhausted to ride another mile. Who could possibly carry the call to arms? The colonel paces the room, his mind racing. He needs to stay at the homestead to organize the men as they arrive. He can't go himself. Who could he send? The journey would be treacherous. It would cover 40 miles of rugged, unlit terrain, in the middle of a torrential downpour. And it wasn't just the weather. The area was crawling with dangers. British patrols were a constant threat, and so were outlaws, known as skinners, who would rob or harm any traveler they came across. It was a mission for a seasoned soldier, not something you'd ask of just anyone. It's in this moment of crisis that his 16-year-old daughter, Sybil, steps forward. She has overheard everything. She knows the land like the back of her hand, every shortcut, every hidden path. She's a skilled equestrian, having spent her life on horseback. Without a moment's hesitation, she volunteers. "I'll go," she says. Her father looks at her. He knows the immense danger, but he also knows his daughter's strength and determination. The ride is an ordeal from the very first mile. The rain is a solid sheet, cold and blinding. The wind whips at her, threatening to throw her from her horse. The roads are nothing but mud and slick rock. Star struggles for footing, but Sybil urges him on, her voice a constant encouragement. Her route is a sprawling 40-mile loop, taking her from their homestead in what is now Kent, north to Mahopac, then west to Stormville, before turning south and looping back home. At every farmhouse and every small cluster of homes, she pulls Star to a halt, cupping her hands to her mouth. She shouts into the storm, her voice piercing the wind and rain. The British are burning Danbury. Muster at Ludington's. She doesn't have time to wait for a response. She bangs on window shutters with her stick, ensuring the inhabitants are awake. Then she's off again, plunging back into the darkness. At some homes, a light appears in the window, a sign that her message has been heard. At others, there's only silence, and she has to hope someone was listening. The physical toll is immense. She's soaked, freezing, and exhausted, but the mental strain is just as great. Every shadow seems to hold a threat. Is that a British patrol up ahead? Is that rustling in the bushes a highwayman waiting in ambush? Legend has it that she did, in fact, encounter a highwayman. The story goes that a figure stepped out from the trees and tried to block her path. Thinking fast, Sybil wielded the stick her father had given her, striking the man, and shouting with such authority that he recoiled in surprise, allowing her and Star to gallop past to safety. She rides for hours. Midnight comes and goes. The world is a blur of rain, mud, and endless darkness, punctuated only by her own frantic cry. The British are burning Danbury. Muster at Ludington's, she is just one girl on one horse, but her voice is the spark of rebellion, carrying the alarm through the sleeping countryside, waking a militia from its slumber. Her resolve never wavers. She knows what's at stake. She's not just riding for her father, she's riding for her home, her neighbours, and the cause of liberty. As the first faint hints of grey begin to lighten the eastern sky, a weary but triumphant Sybil Ludington rides back into her family's farmstead. She has done it. She has completed the entire 40-mile circuit. She slides of Star's back, every muscle aching, her body numb with cold and exhaustion. But the sight that greets her makes it all worthwhile. The yard is filled with men, hundreds of them, farmers, blacksmiths, merchants, her father's militia. They had heard her call and they had come. They were armed and ready, their faces grim with determination. Thanks to Sybil's incredible feat of endurance and bravery, nearly the entire regiment, about 400 soldiers, had been mustered by dawn. They were too late to save Danbury, but they were not too late to fight. Colonel Ludington quickly organized his men, and they marched off to join the Continental forces gathering to confront the British. The next day, at the Battle of Ridgefield, Ludington's men engaged the retreating British troops, fighting fiercely and contributing to the effort that turned the British withdrawal into a bloody and costly affair for them. Sybil Ludington returned home, not to parades or medals, but to the quiet reality of her life. She had performed an act of heroism that rivaled any soldier on the battlefield. Yet her story largely faded into local legend for many years. It wasn't until much later that her ride gained wider recognition. Even George Washington, upon hearing of her exploit, is said to have visited the Ludington home to personally thank her for her service. Sybil's ride was longer and arguably more dangerous than Paul Revere's famous journey. She was younger, she rode alone, and she covered more than double the distance in far worse conditions. Her story is a powerful reminder that heroes come in all shapes, sizes, and ages. It shows us that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being terrified and doing what needs to be done anyway. A 16-year-old girl on a stormy night in 1777 proved that one person's determination can indeed change the course of history. Thank you so much for watching. If you were inspired by Sybil Ludington's incredible story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of hidden heroes from history. Let us know in the comments what you think. We'll see you in the next video.